Ladies and gentlemen, champions and creators, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by the mountain of tasks in front of you? Have you ever postponed progress because the journey seemed too long? Well, today that ends, because I'm going to give you one rule, just one rule, that can shatter procrastination, ignite your momentum, and elevate your productivity to a level you've never experienced before. It's called the 5-minute rule, and it's about to change your life. Start before you're ready is more than a catchy phrase. It's a mindset that separates high achievers from the people still waiting for perfect conditions. It challenges the lie we've all been taught that we need to feel motivated, fully prepared, or equipped with all the right tools before we can begin. The truth is, you don't need clarity to begin. You gain clarity by beginning. Action creates direction. Motion reveals the map. The idea that you must feel ready is a trap, a comfort-based excuse wrapped in logic. But comfort never creates champions, commitment does. Here's a secret successful people understand. Readiness is not a prerequisite for progress. You become ready by doing. Every master was once a beginner. Every expert was once uncertain. What makes them different is that they move forward anyway. They embraced the discomfort of starting before all the pieces were in place. And that boldness attracted the resources, opportunities, and knowledge they needed. Waiting to feel ready is like standing at the edge of a pool, hoping to feel dry confidence before you jump in. But the moment you leap, your body learns to swim, your spirit learns to soar. Think about it. How many dreams have died at the altar of hesitation? How many books have gone unwritten, businesses unlaunched, or skills undeveloped because someone thought they weren't ready? The idea of being ready is often fear in disguise, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. But the moment you choose to act in spite of fear, you steal its power. You silence the lie and awaken your purpose. Let's bring this to life with a real example. There was a young woman named Amber who dreamed of starting a podcast. She loved to speak, she had powerful ideas, and people often told her she had a voice that inspired. But she kept waiting to get the right microphone, the perfect branding, the flawless intro music, the ideal guest list. She spent months researching but never recording. Then one day a friend challenged her, just record your first episode on your phone. Don't edit it, just publish it. Start before you're ready. Reluctantly, she did. She recorded a 10-minute voice note, shared a personal story, and uploaded it. Was it perfect? No. Was she nervous? Absolutely. But do you know what happened? That one imperfect episode resonated with people. Messages started coming in. Listeners thanked her for being raw, real, and honest. And that response gave her the confidence to do another, then another. Fast forward 6 months, and Amber had a full studio, thousands of followers, and sponsors reaching out. But none of it would have happened if she hadn't hit record when she still felt unqualified. And that's the power of starting before you're ready. You open the door for growth, feedback, and momentum. You make progress real instead of theoretical. You take back control from the voice that says, not yet, and replace it with a louder, more powerful one that says, why not now? The next time you find yourself saying, I'll start when, catch yourself, flip the script, tell yourself, I'll start now, and I'll grow as I go. Because the bridge between your current life and the one you dream of isn't built with perfection. It's built with bold, imperfect action. So start before you're ready. Because if you wait until you're ready, you'll never start. But if you start now, readiness will catch up to you. Small steps create massive momentum is a principle that looks simple on the surface, but is rooted in deep truth about human performance, progress, and success. The mistake most people make is thinking that big results only come from big actions. They wait for the perfect day to take giant leaps forward, not realizing that consistent small actions over time generate more growth than sporadic bursts of energy. The power lies not in how fast or far you move at once, but in how often you move and whether you keep moving. Momentum. doesn't come from motivation, it comes from movement. Tiny, intentional movement. One push leads to another. One win fuels the next. And those little victories add up. Think about a snowball rolling downhill. It doesn't start as a giant, unstoppable force. It begins as a small ball of snow, barely noticeable. But with each turn, it picks up more mass, more speed, more energy. That's what small steps do. They start the process, and once the process starts, the force of consistency makes it grow bigger than you ever imagined. Most people underestimate the power of one step. They think, what difference does 5 minutes make? Or this one small task won't move the needle. But over time, it all compounds. Small steps create habits, and habits shape identity. When you commit to even 5 minutes of focused action a day, you're training your brain to show up, to overcome resistance, and to get comfortable in the discomfort of growth. Before long, those 5 minutes turn into 10, then 20, and eventually you look back and realize you've accomplished what once felt impossible. Let me give you a real example to bring this to life. There was a man named James who always wanted to write a book. It had been on his mind for years. But every time he thought about it, he got overwhelmed by the time it would take, by how much he had to write, by the fear of getting it wrong. So he kept putting it off. One day he heard a concept that changed his mindset. Just write 200 words a day. That's it. Just one paragraph. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be organized. It just has to be written. James committed to writing 200 words a day. Most days, it took less than 10 minutes. Some days he stopped right at 200. Other days he kept going because once he started, the resistance was gone. In 3 months, he had over 18 zero words. In 6 months, he had a rough draft of his first book. That book went on to touch thousands of lives, not because he took massive action once, but because he took small, consistent steps that created unstoppable momentum. The truth is, small steps aren't small at all when you look at their effect over time. They are the seed of every breakthrough, the heartbeat of every transformation. One healthy meal, one honest conversation, one workout, one sales call, one page written. These actions may seem insignificant in isolation, but done daily, they carry the power to change your life. So don't wait to take a leap. Don't be paralyzed by the idea that you have to do everything all at once. Just do something, one thing, one step, because progress doesn't happen when you do everything perfectly. It happens when you do something consistently. And the most successful people in the world, they didn't get there by magic. They built momentum through small steps repeated with discipline and belief. Massive momentum is not created by force, it's created by focus. One step at a time, every day, starting now. One of the greatest enemies to productivity, progress, and purpose is resistance. Resistance shows up as procrastination, self-doubt, perfectionism, overthinking, and fear. It's that invisible force that makes simple tasks feel heavy and makes dreams seem distant. But resistance isn't something you defeat with more pressure. It's something you overcome with simplicity. The more complicated you make your next move, the more excuses you give resistance to hold you back. But when you simplify, you strip resistance of its power. You turn mountains into stepping stones, chaos into clarity, and intention into action. Our minds crave clarity. When the brain is faced with complexity, it panics, it looks for escape routes. That's why so many people say, I'll start later, or I just need to plan a bit more. What they're really saying is, I'm overwhelmed. Complexity breeds hesitation. Simplicity breeds motion. When you break down a task into its simplest form, you stop negotiating with your excuses and start interacting with execution. You give yourself permission to begin, and in doing so, you change the entire game. The secret is not to lower your goals, it's to lower the barrier to getting started. Instead of saying, I need to go to the gym for an hour, say, I'll put on my workout clothes and do 5 push-ups. Instead of saying, I need to write a whole chapter, say, I'll write 1 sentence. These micro commitments create momentum. And momentum, no matter how small, always beats stagnation. The reason this works is psychological. The brain hates unfinished tasks. It has a bias toward closure. Once you start, your mind wants to finish. This is called the Zeigarnik effect. But you only activate that mental power when you actually start. And the simplest way to start is by keeping it simple. Let's use a real example to drive this home. There was a man named Victor who wanted to start meditating. He'd read the benefits, clarity, calm, focus, but every time he tried, he got frustrated. He downloaded apps, watched tutorials, and even bought a cushion. But he'd sit down, try to clear his mind for 10 minutes, get distracted, and quit. Meditation felt like a mountain, complicated, uncomfortable, out of reach. One day a mentor told him, don't try to meditate, just sit still and breathe deeply for 1 minute. That's it. No pressure, no goal, just 1 minute. Victor laughed at how simple it sounded, but he tried it. 1 minute turned into 2, 2 turned into 5. Within 2 weeks, he was meditating every morning, not because he forced it, but because he simplified it. That shift in approach broke the resistance that had been blocking him for months. Simplicity made it sustainable. The lesson? Most of what we want to do isn't impossible. It just feels that way because we make it too complicated. We think we need the perfect system, the ideal timing, or the right tools. But what we really need is the courage to start small and the wisdom to keep it simple. Simplicity is not about doing less. It's about removing the clutter that prevents you from doing what matters. And when you break resistance with simplicity, you take back control of your progress. You no longer need perfect conditions to make powerful moves. You just need to ask yourself, what is the smallest, easiest step I can take right now that moves me forward? Do that. Not tomorrow, not later, right now. Because simplicity isn't weak. It's the strongest form of strategy. And once you embrace it, resistance doesn't stand a chance. One of the most overlooked secrets to lasting success is trust. Not with others, but with yourself. When you make promises to yourself and keep them, you build inner strength, confidence, and momentum. But when you break those promises, even the small ones, you erode the trust between your mind and your will. Over time, this creates a silent but dangerous pattern. Your mind stops believing you when you say, I'll start tomorrow, or I'm going to finish this. And if your mind doesn't trust you, it won't support you. It will resist you. It will doubt you. It will sabotage you. That's why training your mind to trust you is so critical. Every time you say you'll do something and follow through, whether it's for 5 minutes or 50, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. You're proving to your subconscious that your words have weight. You're showing yourself that you are reliable, capable, and committed. This self-trust becomes the foundation of self-discipline, which is the bridge between your goals and your greatness. Well, think of your relationship with your mind like a bank account. Every time you do what you say you're going to do, you make a deposit. Every time you don't, you make a withdrawal. Over time, that balance determines your confidence. People with high self-trust don't need to feel motivated. They move because they've trained themselves to follow through. Their identity is built on consistency, not emotion. And when things get hard, and they always do, it's not motivation that carries them, but the trust they've built with themselves. Let me give you a quick, powerful example. There was a young man named Andre who struggled with fitness. He tried dozens of workout plans, bought expensive gear, and even hired a trainer, but nothing stuck. He would always start strong and quit within 2 weeks. One day, his coach asked him, when was the last time you kept a commitment to yourself, no matter how small? Andre paused. He couldn't remember. The coach gave him one simple task: walk for 5 minutes every day for 30 days. No excuses, no exceptions, rain or shine, just 5 minutes. The goal wasn't fitness, it was integrity. Andre agreed. At first, it felt silly, but something changed around day 7. He started to look forward to the walks. He started to trust himself again. 30 days turned into 60. He added strength training, adjusted his diet, and eventually lost 40 pounds. But the real win wasn't physical, it was internal. Andre rebuilt the trust that had been missing for years. That's what training your mind to trust you looks like. It's not about perfection. It's about honoring your word, even in the small things. Because when your mind knows that your word is law, your confidence rises, your discipline sharpens, and your results multiply. Say less, do more. And watch how your life transforms when your mind starts to believe every word you say. Most people are searching for quick wins and instant results, but the truth is results are rarely the outcome of one big effort. They are the byproduct of consistent, repeated actions over time. Repetition is the silent force behind mastery, growth, and long-term success. It's not glamorous, it's not flashy, but it works. The results you want are not hiding in a single breakthrough moment. They are waiting behind the walls of repetition, where most people give up before they even get started. You can't expect to get strong by lifting weights once. You can't build a business by showing up for a week. You can't develop a skill by dabbling here and there. Progress is not an event, it's a process. And repetition is the heartbeat of that process. Every time you repeat a positive action, you reinforce a habit. Every time you repeat a habit, you shape your identity. And identity is what drives behavior long term. The problem is repetition is boring. It's not exciting to do the same thing day after day, especially when you can't see immediate results. That's where most people fall off. They confuse repetition with stagnation. But what feels like a slow grind is actually where the magic is happening. Under the surface, you're building mental muscle, emotional endurance, and practical skills. The results might not show up right away, but the return is coming if you stay consistent long enough to earn it. You see, every expert you admire, every successful entrepreneur, athlete, artist, or leader, they didn't get there by doing something once. They repeated their process over and over until it became second nature. Repetition is how champions are made. It's how confidence is built. It's how you take something hard and turn it into something natural. It's how you stop needing motivation and start running on momentum. Let me give you a powerful real-life example. There was a college student named Jordan who struggled with public speaking. Every time he got up in front of a crowd, his hands would shake, his voice would tremble, and his mind would go blank. He hated it, but he knew it was a skill he needed to master, so he made a decision. For the next 90 days, he would give one short talk every single day, no matter what. Sometimes it was to a mirror, sometimes it was to a small group, sometimes it was in class. The point wasn't perfection. The point was repetition. At first, it was painful. He stumbled through his words. He second-guessed himself constantly, but around day 30, something clicked. His confidence grew. His delivery got sharper. By day 60, people were complimenting his communication. By day 90, he was leading workshops for other students, not because he was born a speaker, but because he repeated the process until fear turned into fluency. That's the power of repetition. It turns fear into flow. It turns beginners into pros, and it turns potential into performance. So the next time you feel like giving up because you're not seeing results, remember this: the result is on the other side of the reps. Keep showing up. Keep doing the work. Trust the process, because success isn't hidden in complexity, it's hidden in repetition. And the person who is willing to repeat what others avoid will always rise above the rest. This isn't about time. It's about transformation. If you're waiting for the right moment, the perfect plan, the flawless strategy, you'll be waiting forever. But if you give yourself just 5 focused minutes, you will outwork, outlast, and outperform 99% of people who are still waiting to feel ready. So here's your challenge. What can you start right now for 5 minutes? Because greatness isn't built in hours, it's built in moments. And the moment you decide to move, just for 5 minutes, is the moment your future changes forever. Now go. Be productive, be powerful, be unstoppable,